If you're turning 65 and you're eligible for Medicare, but you're still working, what do? Do you sign up for Medicare? Do you wait until you're finished working? Well, this is something a lot of people mess up, so I'm going to make sure you understand exactly what to do. Stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about being Medicare eligible, turning 65, but you're still working. And what do you do if you continue to work past age 65? So maybe you're just not quite ready to retire, or maybe you just can't retire, you can't afford to retire. So obviously these days a lot of people work well past age 65. So certainly becomes an issue on what to do with their Medicare. And I'm going to help you out with that right now. And I'm Keith Armbrecht. I'm founder of Medicare on Video, and I help people across the country with their Medicare choices and making sure we get all your pieces in the right places. So I hope you'll find this helpful, and especially if you continue to work past 65, this is information you need to know. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I hope you find those helpful as well. And something I need to ask of you is if you don't mind to add a comment below a video or below more than one video. Certainly subscribe to the channel. This is what makes YouTube put the videos in front of people that need to see them, that they know that they're valuable. So if you found them valuable, take just a minute and leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get updates as they come along. So I try to do at least a few videos a month, and we cover everything that's Medicare. So right now, we're talking about continuing to work past age 65. And there are a couple of different scenarios. If you work for an employer that has less than 20 employees, it's different than if you work for an employer that has 20 or more employers. And so that line is 20. It's 20 or more, or really 19 or less. So that's the distinction between the two categories. And I can tell you, it's a gray area if you're right on that line. And how do you know what your employer reports as number of employees? So if you're right on that line where you work for a somewhat smaller company that has 18, 22, 25 employees, you're going to have to talk to your employer and see how he files with the government on how many employees they have. So let's talk first about less than 20 employees. So if you work somewhere there's 19 or less employees, and again, there are distinctions whether they're 1099 or part-time or full-time. It's something the employer is going to have to give you some guidance on how he is set up with his, I believe it's a UTC-6 form, on how they file for taxes, things like that. So if your employer has fewer than 20 employees, 19 or less, Medicare would generally pay first. So if you're in this situation, you pretty much want to come off your group plan and get into Medicare, because Medicare is going to be primary and the group plan would be secondary. And I can tell you, in Medicare world, there's no reason to have secondary. So you want one or the other in almost every circumstance. So if you work at a company that has 19 or fewer employees, you're likely going to want to get off the group plan come age 65, go into Medicare. So pretty easy to kind of understand. It's just a little complicated figuring out how many employees there are at your company. If you work for a larger employer that has 20 or more employees, in this scenario, that health plan, the group plan that you're on now, would be primary. Medicare would be secondary. So again, we don't want both of them because they really don't coordinate very well. So if you work at a company that has 50 employees or 100 employees or 500 employees, and you have a really good group plan, meaning it's got a decent deductible and decent co-insurance, but more so that the employer is paying probably the majority of your premium, then you're probably going to want to stay on that group plan until you're ready to retire. So it's important to understand that. And what we don't want to do is start Medicare and stay on our group plan. So if you work for a larger employer and you have good benefits and they pay most of your way, you're probably going to want to stay on the group plan and not start Medicare. So let's understand exactly kind of how that functions. So if we are staying on our group plan, work for a larger employer, good benefits, good contribution, so you don't pay much for it, then your Part A Medicare is going to start at 65 no matter what. It doesn't make any difference on Part A. Part A is kind of automatic. So it really doesn't function into your decision whatsoever. But what you do not want to do is start Medicare Part B. So if you're staying on your group plan, at work, you do not want to start Medicare Part B until you are ready to retire and come into Medicare. And the reason for that, number one, there's a premium for Medicare Part B. So you don't want to be paying a premium on Part B when you don't need it. And then number two, Part B is a trigger. When you start Part B, it acts as if you're turning 65. So let's say you stay on your group plan, you work until you're 69 or 70 or 75, doesn't make any difference whatsoever, and then you're going to retire and you're going to start your Part B when you retire. That makes it just like you're turning 65 coming into Medicare. You have an open window. You can pick anything you want in Medicare and there are no health questions. So there's no qualifying. They can't say no. So super important to not start Part B until you are ready to come into Medicare. And if you're going to stay on your group plan, you're not ready to come into Medicare. So I just had not long ago a very nice 84-year-old woman, worked her entire life and was retiring at 84, did everything proper, started Part B when she retired, and it's just like she's turning 65. She has an open window, does anything she wants, and it just worked out perfectly. I've seen many people start Part B before they were ready to come into Medicare. And what that does, number one, you got a premium to pay. And number two, you can't get a Medicare supplement unless you're completely healthy coming in. So if you're staying on your group plan, do not start your Part B until you're ready to retire and come into Medicare. So you can see here, when you retire, it's the same as if you're turning 65. Now, if you stay on your group plan, there's a couple more things you need to do when it's time to come into Medicare. So if you know you're going to retire, do this early because it takes a little bit of time to get everything in place. You're going to need an employer coverage form, which you can find right on my website at MedicareOnVideo.com. It's in the guides and forms section. I'm going to show you all about that in just a second here on how to get there and all the other stuff that I have that you're going to need coming into Medicare. But the employer coverage form shows that you had credible coverage previously, which means you will not have a penalty on Part B or Medicare Part D drug plans. So you need this employer form. You can download it right on my website. You can email it to your HR department. They're the ones that fill it out, get it back to you. And again, this takes time. So make sure, we want to do this at least a couple of months before you're going to retire so that when you do, your Medicare is going to start right away. So I hope you found all this helpful. I'm going to show you right now everything else you can do on my website. Please do me a favor, leave a comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. That way more people will get access to the information that they need for coming in Medicare. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay tuned. I'll show you about the website. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'm certainly always happy to help with any questions, any issues that arise, and they always do. So feel free to give me a call or send me an email. You'll certainly want to visit my website. I have a tremendous amount of information there for now and in the future. So just visit MedicareOnVideo.com. Right in the middle, you'll see is where you get a quote for a Medicare supplement plan. And this is obviously what I do for a living, is I help people make sure that we get the right plan at the right price with the right company in whichever zip code you're located in. So you certainly want to run a quote on a Medicare supplement plan. You can also get a free discount prescription drug card. And I get really good feedback on this, so you might as well go ahead and download a prescription drug card, and it's likely going to save you some money at the pharmacy. While you're there, you want to go into the Resource Center, and the Resource Center tab is going to drop down, and what you'll find is guides and forms where I have pretty much any piece of information that you need for Medicare right here. So if you need something like the employer form where you're going to retire and you're coming into Medicare and your employer needs to fill this form out, you can download it right on my website and then email it to your HR department, get them to fill it out so that you'll have it when you need it. And you can also get a copy of my book. So you can download a copy of Medicare Made Clear, and I cover just about every topic in Medicare. So it's a great thing to have on your iPad or on your computer, whatever it may be for now. And again, in the future, certainly very helpful to have. Now, you'll also in the Resource Center find the video library. And if you click on video library, it takes you right to my YouTube channel where I have over 100 videos on pretty much everything Medicare. So now we've got so many, it's kind of hard to find what you're looking for. But if you're looking for something specific, just use the magnifying glass at the top, put in whatever topic you're looking for, and it'll bring up the videos that relate to that topic. So it makes it easy to find exactly what you're looking for. So I'm happy to help with any of it. And obviously, I'd appreciate it if you allow me to help you with your Medicare supplement plan. That's what keeps this whole thing going. And I'm happy to do it. And we will make sure that you get it right from the start. So I hope you found all this helpful and have a fantastic day.